Hello everyone, my name is Sara Evelyn Velis de Pacheco. I'm an English teacher at Universidad Católica de El Salvador, UNICAES. In this opportunity, we are going to share a little bit on how to implement a different version of lesson plan, including what? Including games. So, let's get in this idea. Why do we have to follow the traditional way when preparing a lesson plan for our students? Remember that if you consider including an attractive activity, why not a game, right? So let's start analyzing and learning how to implement these new different ideas. But remember, before including a ludic activity into your lesson planning, you have to answer a couple of questions. For example, what types of activity do I have to include in this one? What are my goals? What about the context? Which is the context that I have in my class? The reason and the purpose, okay? What type of grouping am I going to use? If I have enough students, maybe I can divide my team in trios, pairs, or small groups. But if not, I need to consider working in individual way. Also, as teacher, I know that you are wondering how to include or implement the 4 macro skills when preparing a lesson plan. For that reason, I'm going to share with you a big chart explaining you what type of activities you can involve or include in your lesson planning and the skill that they are going to be addressing. Now, the first idea that I want to share with you is the famous fly swatter. What is that? A simple and common object that we usually have in our houses, right? They are not expensive and they are really useful when preparing this activity. So, what are the elements that we need in order to prepare this game? You need to prepare a bunch of sentence strips according to the topic or the category that you want to involve or include in your lesson. How come? For example, if working with vegetables, fruits, verbs, etc. Then you have to ask and involve all your students when preparing the classroom for this activity. Every single sentence strip must be pasted around the classroom, right? So, from the very beginning, you are going to catch your students' attention, you are going to include them, and they are going to be working with you. So, ask them in general to paste around the classroom every single sentence strip. Then, you have to divide the team into 2 large groups. If you have boys and girls, could be nice if you want to do that, to ask them to form into girls and boys, if you want. If not, according to the number of students that you have in your classroom. Okay, now you have the 2 teams ready. You have to give 1 fly swatter per team. And remember, the first person from team are the ones that are going to run at the moment when you mention the specific name according to the category that you are playing in that moment, right? It could be related to fruits, vegetables, countries from around the world, verbs in the different tenses, and so on, right? So, what is going to happen? And this is so much fun. You are going to mention, for example, apple. So, the first 2 students are going to run with the fly swatter, right? They are going to hit the name. The first one is going to grab the sentence strip and they are going to keep as team the sentence strips. At the end of the game, is going to be the winner, the group that has a lot, the majority of sentence strips mentioned by you. I guarantee that you are going to have so much fun. They are going to learn a lot and they are going to enjoy the class. You can take advantage of this. How? You can ask them to work in small teams or groups at the end, and they have to write down all the vocabulary or information or names that you have been developing with them, right? So they are going to enjoy your class, they are going to learn, and they are going to have a lot of fun. What do you think at this moment, colleagues? I know that you are going to implement this game. Now, for the second idea that I want to present to you is the game called Person, Place, and Action, right? How come? I mean, for this game, it is necessary to have 3 different containers. They can be small buckets, small boxes, or even paper bags if you want. Don't forget that you have to mention 1 container per category. So, one container is going to be for person, the second one for place, and the third one for action. Now, what are you going to do? You are going to prepare 3 small pieces of paper, like the Post-its, the mini ones, and you are going to give 3 per student, right? So they are going to write 1 information per category. Example, for person, they can include personal names, let's say, mother, father, uncle, Mary, John, whatever name they want to include. For category number 2, that is place, every single place they imagine. Supermarket, cinema, my bedroom, my living room, and so on, right? The park, the beach, etc. Now, in category number 3, remember that they have to write action verbs. So that means that they can include any action verb they prefer. Now, after that, you have to ask your students to fold every single piece of paper, and they have to be really focused in that moment. Why? Because they have to include the specific papers in the specific category, right? So, person, place, and action. At the end, according to the number of students that you have in your classroom, you will have a lot of papers related to the same category. What is next? You are going to ask in that moment every single student to stand up, to form a line, and to approach the containers. And they are going to pick or select 1 paper per category. That means that they are going to have at the end 3 papers again, right? But not the same ones that they prepared or made at the beginning. No, they are going to find different information. And here is the funny part. Why? Because you are going to ask the students to return to their places, to prepare their material, a notebook, pen or pencil, right? And with the information that they have at this moment, the person, the place, and the action, you can ask them to write a specific composition, let's say, according to the tense or the grammatical structure that you are developing with them in that moment, right? So, in that way, the same information can be useful for them to write in simple present, simple past, or using any other grammar structure that you want to develop. And this is really nice. Why? Because they are going to include a lot of information, creativity, and imagination. At the end, it would be nice if you let some of them, in a voluntary way, to stand up, to go to the front and read their creation for the rest of the classmates. You will see that they are going to have a lot of funny stories to share with the classmates. And a different option could be, if you want to write this activity or task, you can take with you all the different compositions to your house and check them, right? It depends on the focus on the intention that you have with this activity, teacher, that you are going to take advantage, have fun, and let your students prepare a really nice composition based on just 3 simple pieces of paper, right? Person, place, and action. Now, what is next? If you want to change this version into oral production, it could be useful too. You can ask them, instead of writing down, just to have like an impromptu speech, right? 3 minutes or 1 minute, according to the level of your students, asking them to prepare an imaginary story in that moment using the 3 elements and giving them time. You will find a lot of attractive and funny stories at the same way, right? So my 2 ideas. I hope you are going to enjoy them with your students. I hope that you can implement them as well in your classrooms. And thank you so much.